It's time for your statewide Alabama weathercast.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Drew McCombs with the Alabama Weather Network, and this is your midday statewide forecast update. And we're looking at some Skywatcher pictures. These are submissions for our photo contest that we've got going on for this month. This is from Daniel Harbin in Trenton. Beautiful old barn here with the blue skies there in the Paint Rock Valley. Got one from David Graveman in Trussville, but he wasn't in Trussville at this point. I'm pretty sure it looks like he's flying over Florida at this point. You got some beautiful clouds there as starting to descend to land, it appears. And as far as the photo contest, it's going through the end of this month. So we started yesterday. It'll be going to the end of the month. If you want to participate, you'll need to be a Skywatcher. So if you're not a Skywatcher, you can apply at spanskywatchers.com. But once you get accepted and you're part of the Skywatcher team, you can submit up to a limit of one current photo per day. We'd like it to be a photo that you've taken that day. And then we will judge it at the end of the month, and then the winner receives a Davis Vantage View weather station. So pretty cool prize there. So we encourage you to participate if you are a Skywatcher. Here's a look at your satellite and radar right now. It's very calm out there. There's just sunshine across the whole state. Got a few clouds to the south, but generally not much happening there. No blips on the radar at all. Looking at our sky cams, you can see that here. Blue skies across Russellville at 74 degrees. Dew point's at 59. We've got this little bit drier air mass that started to push in, and we got a little bit of a breeze. It's east-northeast at 14 miles per hour. We expect to be pretty breezy over most of the state for the next couple of days as this drier air filters in from the northeast. Hoover looking beautiful as well at 73 degrees there, also pretty dry with a breeze. And as we move down further to the south and into the southeastern portion of the state, Abbeville, it's actually 65 degrees there, pretty cool start, and it's 61 degrees for the dew point. Got a little bit of a breeze there as well. And as we move down towards the coast, looking at Spanish Fort, again, just a couple of clouds, really nice looking situation there, looking over towards the bay, and it's a little bit warmer at 78 degrees. Low temperatures that we've seen so far this morning, got some places into the upper 50s, got to 59 in Gadsden, 59 in Selma. Demopolis, the cool spot at 56 degrees. You don't expect them to be the cool spot very often. Other than that, generally got into the lower 60s in most spots. And again, we expect to see the trend of cooler mornings and lower temperatures in the mornings over the next couple of mornings as this dry air mass moves into place. Our Skywatchers reported the same thing. Nate Sullivan in Clay County got to 56 degrees. Robert Bradford in eastern Walken County got to 58. Matt Nicholson in Calhoun got to 60. Lynn Lambert in Red Level 63. And the same thing from Valerie Hughes in Tuscaloosa. And again, we always appreciate our Skywatchers sending in the reports every day. So what we're watching for the rest of today and through the weekend, highs continue to be in the 80s, but more like the lower 80s in many spots. Mid 80s still possible, but expect to be a little bit lower on the afternoons, but still warm, but comfortable as we've got the cooler air mass, or at least drier air mass in place, which will mean cooler nights the next couple of nights. And then we'll be dry through Saturday generally. Can't rule out an isolated shower or two in the south, but generally dry through Saturday before we see an uptick of rain chances starting in the southern part of the state as we get into late weekend, early next week. Temperatures right now, we're a little bit cooler in the eastern side of the state, mid 70s, 75 in Auburn, 74 in Anniston. Warmer towards the west, it's 82 degrees in both Demopolis and Selma and also in Chatham. And we expect to see that trend continue as we'll be a little bit warmer on the western side of the state generally. Futurecast looks like we'll just push a few of these scattered clouds out as we move on into the afternoon. Most of the state bathed in sunshine. There is a possibility of a stray shower or two. This model picking up a little bit more of that, but I think this is likely to be very isolated, if anything, down in the southwestern corner of the state towards the coast for this afternoon, but generally very calm. And as we get into tomorrow, we expect more of the same. Hard to find a shower anywhere across the state tomorrow, so we expect, again, full sunshine, really good weather for football games in the next couple of nights for sure. And as we get into Saturday, a little bit more of a chance of starting to get a few showers moving in. Still fairly isolated, maybe a little bit heavier in some spots, but generally, again, most of the state staying dry and warm as we move into Saturday afternoon as well. But we will start to see a little bit more of a southerly flow as we get later in the weekend, which will help to kind of open up the Gulf and maybe help us a little bit with some rain in at least a few spots. Forecast dew points, here's that dry air in the yellow right there moving in with dew points in the 50s. We'll see a reinforcing shot of that later on today. And then we'll still see a little bit more moisture down, kind of confined towards the coast. But as we get into Saturday, we start to see the green kind of come back a little bit more from the east as the flow shifts a little bit more from the east instead of the northeast. And that'll help to kind of push some of that dry air out a little bit. And eventually it'll start to come from the south as we get later on into the weekend and early next week, which will help to increase the humidity and hopefully get our rain chances up a little bit. That would be helpful because looking at the drought monitor, today's drought monitor day, we have unfortunately seen some further degradation in the drought conditions. So looking at last week, you already had severe drought in the southwestern, south central part of the state. And then this week, we are seeing things getting worse. So we now have several counties within the extreme drought category there. So it looks like Green Hill and Marengo within that. The severe drought has expanded out a little bit further as well in this same area. We have seen a little bit of improvement in the Tennessee Valley because they saw a good bit of rain in spots last week. But generally, the story is not great for a good portion of the state. And looking at the rain deficit, you can see that this is the last 30 days. So this basically means that a lot of the places in the state are 2 to 4 inches below what they should be based on climatology on a typically for this time of year. So not great as far as the southern kind of 3/4 of the state, although that's been a little bit better there again up in the Tennessee Valley. Rainfall outlook through the next week. Again, we still expect a chance for an inch or two of rain, especially right along the coast. But unfortunately, in those areas that are getting into the worst part of the drought, not looking like a whole lot is possible. The northern part of the state might have a little bit of an uptick in rain chances as we're looking at maybe a front trying to nose in from the north as we get into late next week. We'll kind of resolve the details on that more as we get further towards that time frame. But that may help us a little bit, hopefully. Looking at our Friday night forecast, it's going to be really perfect football weather, both tonight and tomorrow night. You can see we'll be in the northern part of the state, falling from the upper 70s through the 70s down into the upper 60s by the time you kind of get to the end of the games there with no threat of rain, just almost perfect football weather, a little bit of a breeze as well. And in the southern part of the state, pretty similar. We'll start off in the upper 70s, maybe falling in the low 70s by the time you get to the end of the game. And again, a little bit of a breeze, nice conditions out there. It's hard to beat the weather for football for the next couple of nights. Here's your 7-day forecast for North Alabama. Again, we're removing the rain chances really the next couple of days. We expect to be completely dry, highs in the maybe low to mid 80s, lows still down in the 50s, so very comfortable the next couple of days. As we head in the weekend, we moderate a little bit, and then we bring some rain chances back as we get into the early part and mid part of next week. Again, doesn't look like super widespread rain at this point, but we're hoping to kind of see a little bit of an uptick with those rain chances. And then for South Alabama, a little bit more of a chance of an isolated shower the next day or two, but still that would be combined very far south Alabama. And most places will not see any rain at all the next several days. And then again, as we get into the later part of the weekend, Sunday is when we expect to see the Gulf start to open up a little bit, where we'll see some rain chances again, mostly to the far southern coastal part of the state, but that some of that will start to push north as we get into Monday as well. And eventually, hopefully get a little bit more rain in some spots that need it. Well, that is your forecast for now. We'll have another one coming up later on the Alabama Weather Network.